Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. So today we have a battle against S831. So yeah, looking at their team there on the side, looks to be pretty powerful, pretty meta-looking team. Uh, so looking at my team, it is the same one that I've been using the past few games here. So, what do I want to lead with in this one? I think we're just going to go with the Iron Valiant, actually. Looks to actually be a pretty decent matchup against most of the team there. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and see how that works out. Alright. So, there he is. And he's going to go ahead and lead with the Azumarill, which is actually one of the only things I did not want to see with the Iron Valiant lead. So, we can't really stay in on this matchup. I think our best switch to this thing is probably... I think it's probably going to be the Rotom, actually, so that's what we're going to do. Predicting a water move, we're going to go ahead and switch directly into our Rotom Wash here. So there it is. And he's actually going to Belly Drum, so that was also a possibility, but not much we can do about that, unfortunately. So that thing going to get +6 attack, which is obviously terrifying. No Berry, which is interesting, to boost its health back up. So all we can really do here is Volt Switch, Choice Specs, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We may outspeed this thing, and we do resist the priority move, so that's positive for us at least. But we'll see what he wants to do here. He's actually going to go ahead and pop his Terra right away, so that is interesting. So going to Terrastallize the Azumarill into a pure Fairy type, which is going to be good for him because it's going to reduce the damage output, of course, from the Volt Switch. So we do outspeed, Volt Switch incoming, and actually with the Choice Specs, it's still going to be enough to go ahead and one-shot that Azumarill, which is actually incredible for us. That is going to knock him down to 5, and then that is also going to give us the pivot out. So the only bad thing about this is we are going to have to show first, so they'll be able to bring in a matchup accordingly. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the Salazzle. We are Focus Sash, so we know we can take any attack and maybe outspeed some stuff too, so seems like the best course of action here. So we'll see what he wants to bring in response. But it is good that we got him to burn his Terra so early. That is pretty great. So now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Garganackle, which is obviously terrible for our Salazzle. So we're going to go ahead and switch. I think... What do we want to bring in to face this thing? Kind of want to just go right back into the Rotom, so that's what we're going to do here. Try and hit this thing on the special side, since it is more physically defensive than specially defensive. So going to come in with the Rotom here, as this thing is going to go for Assault Cure, which I kind of figured would happen, but it kind of is what it is. That is going to do some chip damage to us, and then Assault Cure going to do a pretty solid amount of chip with the end turn damage there. So I think at this point, our best course of action here is we could just try to take this thing out, but I feel like Volt switching out is probably still the best play, so that's what we're going to do. As he actually does stay in, which is a little surprising. Choice Specs Volt Switch going to do almost half to this thing, which is really nice damage, and then we do get the pivot out. So I think what we'll do here is... what do we want to bring in to face this thing? I think we'll just bring in the Orthworm, actually, so we can hit this thing for more super effective damage, hopefully. So, going to bring the Orthworm in here, as this thing is going to go for Assault Cure again, which unfortunately, not going to do too much chip damage there, but then the end of turn, chip damage from the Salt Cure is going to be quite a bit more, because it does deal extra damage to Steel and Water types, so not bringing in exactly the best of type matchups against Salt Cure here, but just kind of is what it is, as this thing gets some leftovers back, HP back I should say, and we take that Salt Cure damage. So I think we'll just go straight for the Iron Head here, try to scout out further and see what they want to do here. And yeah, we'll go from there. As they do stay in, we go Iron Head. It's not quite enough to take this thing out, unfortunately, as they go for a recover, which is very annoying. That is going to go ahead and give this thing, after the leftovers recovery, nearly all of its HP back. So that does suck. We do get leftovers recovery as well they do. And then we are going to go ahead and take the Salt Cure damage. So we can't win this matchup, the War of Attrition here, with the Earthworm against the Garganackle, so we definitely have to switch out. I say we probably just, unfortunately, we just go right back into the Rotom. That's really all we can do here. And it looks like he's pretty committed to staying in with the Garganackle, so hopefully we can maybe make a different play this time, as this thing is going to go for a Curse. So I'm going to go ahead and cut their speed to give it a attack and defense increase, which is obviously bad news, as this thing will regain more HP with the leftovers. And we actually do have a couple of choices here, because we could hope we hit a Hydro Pump on this thing, or we could trick this thing at Choice Specs to kind of cripple it. I think I'm going to make the more aggressive play, though, and go for the Hydro Pump and hope Choice Specs Hydro Pump can actually KO this thing. So that's what we're going to do. They do stay in. We go for the Hydro Pump. We don't miss, which is great. And it is going to be enough, thankfully, to go ahead and get rid of that Garganackle and knock them down to 4. So that is a big nuisance out of the way. Garganackle can definitely be a huge menace. So that is great, as now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Meowscarada. So obviously we can't stay in on this matchup, being Choice Specs locked into Hydro Pump. So we're just going to go back to the Earthworm here, as it is very bulky on the physical side, and does resist the grass moves. So we'll see what he wants to do here. So there's that. As he is just going to Flower Trick here. Protean going to go ahead and change him to a pure grass type. As he hits the Flower Trick, it's guaranteed crit. Gonna knock us down to about a third HP, and then we are going to regain some HP with the leftovers. So unfortunately we're no longer in Shed Tail range, so we can't really make that play. But I think what we have to do here, this thing could definitely switch on us, but I feel like if it doesn't, we just have to make the safe play and go for the Iron Head, so that's what we're going to do. It actually does stay in, goes for the knockoff. It's actually not quite enough to take us out, luckily. It does get rid of our leftovers, which sucks. We do get an Iron Head in return, which knocks this thing down a little below half, but unfortunately it does survive. So we pretty much just have to stay in here at this point with the Earthworm, go Iron Head again, as this thing is going to go Flower Trick again on us. And from that range, unfortunately, the Earthworm cannot survive another attack. The crit is guaranteed, obviously, and that is going to finish our Earthworm off and knock us down to 5. But we do still have options to deal with this thing. So I think option number 1 we're going to go for is going to be the Iron Valiant. So we're going to go ahead and come back in with that. And so I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and go Spirit Break here. We know they're not choice, so we know we're going to outspeed. And we do outspeed indeed. Spirit Break incoming, and that is going to be more than enough from that range to finish off that Meowscarada and knock him down to 3, which is obviously great news for us. But the only potentially bad news here is that he's probably going to realize we're scarfed by the fact that we outsped the Meowscarada and going to be able to bring in a matchup appropriately. So knowing that, he is going to go ahead and come in with the Slowbro. This is obviously bad news for us. We don't really want to stay in on this matchup, so we're just going to go ahead and I think we'll switch directly back into the Rotom Wash here. So we'll see where that goes for us. So there it is. And he is going to go for an Iron Defense, which is definitely scary. That's going to go ahead and boost this thing's physical defense to +2, which is obviously awful if we were in with a physical attacker. But fortunately, Rotom is a special attacker. So we're just going to go ahead and... how do we want to play this here? I think our best course of action is... I mean, we could actually pop our Terra here. And then get the extra damage output on the Volt Switch to try and one-shot this thing. I don't know if we really need our Terra for anything else in this game, so we might actually just do that. Yeah, you know what? I think we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and Terrastalize into an Electric type, go for a Choice Specs Volt Switch here, and see if we can't one-shot this Slowbro. So, here we go. Rotom gonna Terra into a pure Electric type, giving it 0 weaknesses thanks to the Levitate ability. And of course we are gonna outspeed here. Gonna go for the Choice Specs Volt Switch, Terra boosted, max special attack, and it is going to be enough to go ahead and one-shot that Slowbro, which is incredible, and that is gonna knock him down to 2. So that is obviously great news for us. I think what we'll do is we will once again switch the Salazzle back in here on the empty battlefield. Once again, the only bad thing about this is we do have to show first, so he's going to get to choose a matchup accordingly. But kind of running out of options here. However, he does still have the Annihilate, so he's going to come in with that. I think our best course of action here, we should be outspeeding this thing, I believe, so I think what we're actually going to do is we're going to take this chance to set up a Nasty Plot on this thing, as there we go, we do outspeed, and we do get the Nasty Plot to go ahead and give us that sharp special attack increase, as this thing is going to go for a Bulk Up, which is normally pretty bad news. But that does give it an attack and defense increase, but that's okay. We do still outspeed, and we do still have our Focus Sash intact, so we're just going to go Fire Blast this turn, as he's actually going to go for the switch, interestingly enough, and he's going to switch in with the Ceruledge as we go Fire Blast, and at +2, that is going to do about 2/3 damage to this thing, which is great damage. And then this turn, we're actually going to be able to go for the Dragon Pulse, as this thing is going to go for a Shadow Sneak just to get some chip on the way out. Does almost have to us, as Salazzle's pretty frail, but we are able to get the Dragon Pulse in return, which is going to finish the Ceruledge off and knock him down to just 1 Pokemon. So that is great for us, as his last Pokemon is going to be that Annihilate. I'm going to come back in with that, and then we're just going to go ahead and try to take this thing out with a Fire Blast here, as we do connect with the Fire Blast, which is great, and at +2, that is just going to one-shot the Annihilate outright, and that is game. So we are going to win that one 5-0, actually, against S831, but that was a pretty fun game, I thought, actually. Pretty fast-paced, interesting one. So yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.